Hey, this is Keith, host of Sports Vibes TV, and in this video, I'm going to be discussing the recent middleweight title fight between Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa. If you're into UFC content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. That way you're notified whenever I drop new videos. I'll be dropping videos after every UFC fight night and UFC pay-per-view event. So with that being said, let's get into it. Adesanya came into the fight looking very sharp. It looked like his game plan was to attack Costa's legs so that he couldn't actually load up on his punches and get much power in. Also, you could see throughout the fight that Costa, he looked like he went through some kind of cupping therapy because there were marks all over his legs, primarily on the left leg, which is the leg that Adesanya pretty much singled out for the entirety of the fight. I'm not sure what Costa's game plan was. He pretty much just stood in front of Adesanya for the entire first round. He threw, sparingly here and there. It was pretty much, it looked like he watched tape of Yoel Romero versus Adesanya and pretty much did the same thing. Stood in front of him. He kind of ushered him on, and Adesanya was like, okay, kept kicking him in his leg, and then he would start to mix it up as the first round went on a little bit longer. He would start throwing the hands in. His jab was pretty good. And you don't necessarily look at Adesanya for, yes, his striking, but I look at Adesanya more for his legs, for his kicks. And Adesanya was still picking Costa apart when he saw, his shots and his moments. And Costa really gave a bad showing in the first round. Like I said before, I'm not sure what the strategy was. He just let Adesanya let his hands and let his feet go, and he did not return fire at all, pretty much. He might have had maybe 7 or 8 punches landed. It was pretty much just Adesanya chopping him down. And then at times, he would do like a level change. He would chop him at his legs, and then boom, a little switch kick to the head, kick to the body, things like that. And when you watch Adesanya fight in that first round, you saw not his full repertoire, but you saw what makes him so dangerous as a striker. The ability to mix his kicks and have them kind of be disguised by, the other kicks. His movements just look the same. It doesn't matter what kick he's doing, whether he's doing a round kick, whether he's doing a question mark kick. Everything pretty much looks like it's coming from the same place. So you could see why he's so dangerous in the octagon. The second round was pretty more of the same. Adesanya came out and immediately went right after that lead left leg of Costa. And for the most part, Costa looked pretty outmatched. He looked outclassed for the entire fight. So the second round, he came out looking, I won't say dejected, but he just didn't have any energy, and he really wasn't attacking Adesanya. He wasn't bringing the fight to Adesanya, and it allowed Adesanya to get comfortable. And when Adesanya gets comfortable, he's able to size you up and he's able to pick you apart. And that's pretty much what he did in the second round. Once again, with the kicks to the leg, and he started throwing in more jabs, more crosses, more hooks. And he ended up cutting Costa open with a left roundhouse kick to the head. And I'm shocked Costa didn't drop because he caught him cleanly and it busted open his eyebrow. So that pretty much signaled the beginning of the end, because after that, Adesanya pretty much unleashed a flurry of punches, and he actually dropped him on a hook, if I'm not mistaken. And once Costa went down, pretty much Adesanya mounted him and then started raining elbows. And the ref, luckily for Costa, ended up jumping in and stopping the fight. I'm just flabbergasted as to what Costa was trying to do in there. He seemed way more interested in showboating as opposed to putting on a good fight for the fans. So pretty much the fight ended up in the second round by TKO. It was just a one-sided fight by Adesanya, and Costa's going to have to go back to the drawing board and see what his next steps are, because this wasn't a good showing, especially in the second round. I think he didn't really do anything in the second round. In the second round, he stood there. He let Adesanya kick him a few times, and then after a while, he was like, oh, okay, I've had enough. And then boom, Adesanya mounted him, and Adesanya, you could see Adesanya wanted to cause some pain because I know you see elbows, but you see elbows that normally sometimes they're like short range. Adesanya cocked his elbow up to here and just said, 12-6. I don't even think 12-6 are allowed, but would it be 12-6? Because he kind of came across the body. So what would that be more? Like 1-7? 1-7. Boom. But outside of that, it was an interesting fight. I just wish Costa would have actually put up more of a fight. You know, we saw Adesanya use his full repertoire of punches and kicks, but we really didn't see much out of Costa, unfortunately. Adesanya was a little classless in the win. He kind of stayed mounted on top of Paulo Costa and kind of humped him at the end, which was kind of weird, you know. Yes, you guys had a little bit of beef or whatever, but I don't think anything that they said back and forth was as, you know, disrespectful or personal enough to the point where you have to be that disrespectful in the ring. So I'm not sure if there'll be any, you know, negative backlash for it, because I know a lot of fighters and, you know, practitioners of MMA kind of, you know, rest their hat on respect. So we'll see what comes of it. But you guys let me know what you thought about the fight down below in the comments, all right? So with that being said, I'm Keith, host of Sports Vibes TV, and I'm out.